What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is Geography Now, United States of America. This is part one because it's an hour and 5 minutes video, but it has been requested quite a lot. Millie's got to watch Archie. Unfortunately, an hour and 5 minutes is too long for us both to do at the moment. It will change in the future. If you want Millie to do this reaction, let us know in the comments below. Let's say it's an hour and 5 minutes long. I'm hopefully going to split this into two 30-minute parts. The other 30 minutes will be out in about an hour and a half from this. We're going to do it in the same night. I'm going to record it all now, so I'm up for it. Smash that like button, I'd appreciate it. Smash that subscribe button as well, you absolute legends. I know not everyone wants to just see me, but we are doing just me today. Let's check out Geography Now, United States of America. What have we got? Let's go. It's a long video. The link to their channel is in the description, by the way, but wait till after this. That'd be pretty cool to go and see, definitely. Okay, he's gone all over.
As a non-native...
Oh, we got an ad. But what beautiful intro, by the way. We saw I stopped speaking over it because I was like, oh, this is actually beautiful with a violin playing for the Star Spangled Banner. I'm assuming that's all the places he's gone for this video, which makes sense why it's an hour and 5 minutes long. It looks incredible. I am super keen for this now. But what an intro to what hopefully is going to be a banging video.
Home. It's time to learn geography. No!
It's been a while since you've heard that.
By the way, you can get Geography Now merch like this Geography Now shirt at geographynow.com. Not selling out if it's your brand. So we did the UAE, the UK, and now the last of the United Triplet countries.
Okay.
After doing this channel for nearly a decade of my life, it's finally time. We have made it to my home country. Let's make this a big one. Here we go. Welcome to the United States of America. The USA is a very complex place when it comes to the way that it's structured and the way that the domain administers itself. It's almost like 50 mini countries and 5 territories with their own unique identities, yet they all speak the same language and have some common understanding of American life. Everything is bigger, wider, spread out. We love shopping and having everything conveniently available now. I mean, that's why we invented things like fast food, the parking lot, the modern shopping mall, highway service plazas, drive-thrus, the barcode pricing system, credit cards, escalators, and public restrooms are everywhere and they're free. In any case, apart from that little civil structure overview, let's look at the map and discuss the actual location and sovereignty of the USA, shall we?
First of all, the USA is located on the North American continent, with the main chunk of the country, known as the Lower 48, where 98% of the population lives, is sandwiched between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans to the east and west, and Canada and Mexico border them on the north and south. The country consists of 50 states divided into 3,143 counties, or county equivalents, 3,000...
So 3,000 counties. That is mad. That is actually mental. Like, there's so many counties. Look at them. Especially, like, I think we covered this in a video recently. On the east side, there's so many more counties in the west. I don't think anyone answered in the comments why. Let us know why in the comments below.
243 if you include territory divisions. 3 states have weird detached exclaves on the Canadian border. They are the Northwest Angle and Elm Point for Minnesota, Point Roberts, Washington, and Alberg, Vermont. The only state distinctly divided into 2 continental land-based units is Michigan, with the upper and lower peninsulas. The capital of the country is Washington, D.C., which is a federal district not belonging to any state and is under direct control of Congress. tourists, despite having a higher population than some states. In addition,
That's
the USA
mad.
has 5 major unincorporated territories. They are Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Guam, and the Northern Mariana Islands. In addition, there are 9 minor outlying islands, all of which are also unincorporated, except for Palmyra Atoll for some reason, even though all these islands have no permanent population. The U.S. has a disputed claim over 2 small sandbank islands in the Caribbean as well, both administered by Colombia. They are the Serranía Bank and the Bajo Nuevo Bank as well. That being said, this means if you include all the territory...
Who are they disputed with? That may sound super stupid. Is it like disputed with the places? Or is it like another country like, oh, we might own that? The US is probably going to win. Let us know in the comments, because it didn't say who's disputed with. That may be stupid, it may not be. Let us know.
And dependency, the USA has a total of 11 time zones, although only 9 of them are used by people. 2 strange time zone anomalies exist, the first one being the Little and Big Diomede Islands between Alaska and Russia, and American Samoa and Samoa. The Diomedes are less than 3 miles away and are visible to each other, yet they straddle the international date line and are hence an entire day apart from each other. In addition, there are 325 Native American reservations spread throughout the lower 48. These areas, although under U.S. federal territory, have a degree of autonomy for the native tribes that administer them. The largest cities in the
cool. Let us know the best ones to go to, because again, we are coming to America, and the annoying thing about our trip, not the annoying thing, is we've realised like we want to go to Yosemite potentially if we were going to LA, California. It's miles away. So it takes a whole day, and we absolutely love Archie and we've 100% taken him, but we can't go to Yosemite with Archie because it's a whole day thing. So let us know places like this, which you can still get an aspect of culture, still get an amazing experience, which isn't too far away. Like, let us know in the comments just so we can potentially try and go and see it.
USA population-wise are New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. The busiest airports, however, are Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Denver International. The US has an incredibly wide network of roads and highways connecting all states except Hawaii, obviously. The longest one being US Route 20. Although the US does have a relatively wide rail network for freight trains, passenger train lines have decreased over the years in favor of road transport, and today the only long-distance intercity network is operated by Amtrak. Our largest shipping port is the Port of Los Angeles in conjunction with the Port of Long Beach, which are 2 separate entities yet physically joined. Finally, one last thing, although the USA has no claim over Antarctica, we do have the largest Antarctic station at McMurdo, which can facilitate up to 1,000 people, and we also have the only station located on the geographic South Pole at Edmondson Scott Station. And in case if you were wondering, it follows the +12 UTC time zone.
Fun fact, did you know that in Hawaii it's actually illegal to laugh loudly, so you kind of have to keep it at a low Few side notes. One, I made a video explaining the Native American reservations and statistical areas as well as territories of the USA. I figured they deserve their own videos because it's a big topic. Check them out. 2, each state and territory has their own flag, license plate design, and nickname. For example, the state I was born in, Minnesota, is the land of 10,000 lakes. Indiana, I still have no idea what a Hoosier is, but you do you. Cities have nicknames.
Let us know what the Hoosier
Chicago
is in the comments below.
Chi-Town or the Windy City. New York, the Big Apple. Orlando, the Big Orange. Seattle is the Emerald City, and so on. 3, yes, the USA is a car country. It's part of our culture. See, the majority of our country was built post-industrial revolution, so many of our cities have easily navigable, straight grid-like road networks with accommodating wider roads, as opposed to the spider web of narrow medieval cobblestone alleys built for pedestrians. In the US, you can get your own license at age 16. For many of us, it's a rite of passage and bragging right in high school to show off your car, even if you're just borrowing mom's minivan. 4, we also kind of have an awkward situation.
That's such a thing from the movies, by the way, like being able to be like rocking up to school in a car. I feel like in the UK, when you get 17, you're then in 6th form, it's not that big of a deal having a car. In the movies, it seems like it is a massive deal in America. When we went to New York, because we went to Manhattan, it was so much easier trying to find out your way with a block system. As long as you know the avenues and the streets, you know where you're going. In the UK, you get a road name. And like you say, it ain't blocks. It is confusing. I way prefer the block system. It's so much easier.
Guantanamo Bay, which is located in Cuba, it's kind of like this. I am the first president of Cuba. Now that we are independent from the US, I will offer you a perpetual lease to Guantanamo Bay.
Awesome. We'll pay you guys every year.
We are the new Cuba. We don't want you. Get out.
Hey, your old president agreed a perpetual lease to us until both countries agree or we abandon the property. We don't want to do that. We're going to stay here.
Well, yeah, revolution. We don't recognize that treaty.
Well, we do. Here's your lease check for the year. Thanks for doing business.
Lease check.
I'll shake myself. We'll see you next year, okay? Okay.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. At one point, the USA took administrative control over Cuba after the Spanish-American War, in addition to Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. Of course, the Philippines and Cuba gained their own independence. And the US also used to control the Panama Canal Zone for about 70 years. It was like, all right, Panama, you're getting your independence from us.
Woo! Me gusta!
But I agreed to let the Americans have sovereignty over the Canal Zone because, you know, they're kind of building it.
What the? I mean, you want us to leave and
if you're building it, then fair enough.
Finish building it, or for now, no. But let's talk in 70 years. Okay then.
Yeah. In addition, after World War II, we took administrative control over many of the islands in the Pacific that Japan used to control. The three Micronesian island groups of Palau, the Marshall Islands, and the Federated States of Micronesia were labeled as U.S. Trust Territories until they gained independence in 1986. Today, they are the only countries that have the Compact of Free Association status, meaning the U.S. provides defense, financial assistance, and social services to the countries, whereas the citizens are allowed to move, live, and work in the U.S. and easily obtain citizenship if they desire, and in return, they allow the U.S. to have military bases. In any case, every section of the United States has a unique story on how it eventually became part of the country. It basically goes like this.
For example, the USA started as 13 British colonies that pretty much operated everything east of the Mississippi River. At one point, everything up to what is now Minnesota was just called Virginia. In 1803, we obtained the Louisiana Purchase from France, which didn't even have a properly defined western border. It just kind of arbitrarily ended at the Rockies. This doubled the size of the country, and a bunch of Acadian French-speaking criminals from Canada suddenly became American. In 1819, we expanded to the Pacific for the first time and had a shared condominium with the British in Oregon Territory. 2 years later, Florida was ceded to us from Spain in a treaty in which we said that we would cede any claims to Texas. Well, long story incredibly short, the Texans in Texas kind of fought Mexico and became their own country for 10 years. And then
that's mad.
to cede their country.
But I think I always forget that Texas was its own country. It makes sense with Lone Star State, but it's something I forget. This is actually, we're only 10 minutes in, this is super interesting, and this is only going to get more in detail.
Back to the USA. In 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo ended the Mexican-American War, and the Alta California area was ceded to the USA. And after some quick borderline readjustments and new states popping up, the continuous USA was complete. The Guano Islands Act started in the 1850s, got us to claim a bunch of random small islands in the Pacific and the Caribbean. Civil War split us up for about 10 years, but then we reunited. Meanwhile, Alaska was purchased by Russia. 1898, Hawaii was annexed from the Kingdom of Hawaii. 1 year later, after the Spanish-American War, a bunch of new islands joined, but only Puerto Rico and Guam would stay as territories. 1 year later, Samoa was taken over under the Tripartite Convention. Later, only what is now American Samoa would vote to remain. And finally, in 1917, we bought the Virgin Islands from Denmark.
Yeah, almost every American has played the Oregon Trail in school and has died of dysentery. Just want to give a huge thanks to Bright Trip for making that animation. You guys are awesome. Check out their websites. They got some cool stuff. We tried
I mean, the link to his channel's in the description. What is that game, by the way? Have you guys actually played that? Is that a common US game? Because I've never seen that before. Let us know.
By Greenland like 3 times, and they kept saying no, but like, come on, Greenland, come on. On that note, you can kind of tell the story behind places in the USA based off of the language the name comes from. For example, many places in the middle of the USA that used to be part of the Louisiana Purchase have French names like Lafayette, Des Moines, or Des Moines. Hell, the entirety of Louisiana was named after King Louis the 16th, 14th, whatever, we're not French.
A lot of
places
French
that
stuff
used to
in
belong
Louisiana.
to Spain and later Mexico have Spanish names like Puerto Rico, San Diego, and yes, even the city I live in, Los Angeles, Los Angeles. Otherwise, many cities and half of all the states are named after Native American words or anglicized versions of Native American words. Kentucky, Ohio, Oklahoma. The city of Chicago means wild onion in the Miami, Illinois tribe language. In any case, basically our country was born out of revolution. Long story short, we were a colony of Great Britain, not the UK yet, but Great Britain, for about 170 years until King George III came in and went back crazy. Or at least that's how we see it. You know, the Brits are more like, you ungrateful clowns. We declared independence in 1776, which, by the way, thank you Morocco for being the first country in the world to recognize us as a nation in 1777. Hey, I beat them to it in 1776.
Hey, you don't get to speak for me as a nation as a whole. You will recognize them when I say so. Okay, now you can recognize them.
However, the fighting went on for 7 more years.
So many like foreshadowing references, which I just don't get, and people are going to be annoyed like, for foreshadowing what happens in 7 years or whatever. Link videos in the comments below. I need to learn. I do need to learn.
Until the Treaty of Paris was signed, in which Britain officially recognized us as a nation. Meanwhile,
Okay.
Canada just up north was like,
now I'm daddy's favorite.
but then like 80 years later, it was like,
Oh, I'm still dad's favorite.
Yeah.
In any case, with the exception of a few other political entities, up until then, most of the world had been ruled either by monarchs or some kind of singular figurehead with huge authority that all administration pointed towards. The US founding fathers developed a system of mixing elements of English common law, Enlightenment philosophy, classic republicanism from ancient Greece and Rome, federalism, and separation of power. Basically, because we were so traumatized by the monarchical rule, we wanted to make a country ruled by a system that would make it really hard for the government to have too much power. In addition, we decided to become a federation, as in states share a singular sovereignty and must abide by the same federal constitution and the rights that it gives, like freedom of speech and press. But aside from that, they have the right to operate autonomously based on whatever regional values that each state holds and votes on. This is why sometimes people have to cross state lines to do things that might otherwise be illegal in the states they live in. Important to note, not everything was perfect in the beginning legislatively. Of course, we still had a long...
Not everything's perfect in the beginning. Not everything's perfect now. I feel like every country has its own issues because things are written a certain way, which potentially stupid. Everything in life, things evolve. Things you look back in the past, think that is now stupid. It may have made sense at the time, don't make sense anymore.
Way to go, and many things to fix. For example, slavery was still practiced, and it did have legal provisions. Women were not able to vote, and so on. But for what it's worth, the USA was the first nation state founded on enlightened principles of unalienable natural rights, consent of the governed, and liberal democracy. So yeah. America! In any case, history is boring. Let's look at some pretty pictures and whatnot.
Okay,
let's discuss the famous places of the United States, and I will do it! Now, we all know about the most publicized landmarks like the Statue of Liberty,
Been in that crown.
the Empire State Building,
Been
Times
up there.
Square, the Golden Gate
Been there.
Bridge,
We've
Mount
not there.
Rushmore, Grand Canyon, Lincoln Memorial, Niagara Falls, the Hollywood sign, Gateway Arch, and Disney World, the largest amusement park in the world. We have 130 national monuments and 24 UNESCO heritage sites. Yeah, we get it. But let's talk about some of the more underrated places that are just as equally as fascinating as their over-publicized counterparts.
I want to see
Instead of
them.
New York, try Chicago. Instead of the Statue of Liberty, maybe check out the Birth of the New World or the Dignity Statue in South Dakota. Instead of Mount Rushmore,
how big is that Dignity statue?
check out the Birth of the New World or the Dignity Statue in...
How big is that? That seems quite big. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Obviously, it's a Native American with dignity. That's awesome. I mean, it's in South Dakota. I don't think we're going to South Dakota, but that seems pretty cool to go and see.
South Dakota. Instead of Mount Rushmore, try the Crazy Horse Monument. Instead of the Grand Canyon, try Arches National Park, Vermilion Cliffs, Devil's Tower, and my favorite spot, Monument Valley. Instead of Disney World, try Six Flags Magic Mountain. Instead of the Golden Gate Bridge, try the Chesapeake Bay or Sunshine Skyway or the Mackinac Bridges or the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway in Louisiana, the longest continuous bridge in the world. For history, yes, we have history. I'm talking about ancient pre-colonial. Go to the Cahokia Mounds, Poverty Point Earthworks, Hoven Weep, Tonto, Chimney Rock, Navajo National Monument, or the Pueblos of Mesa Verde, Taos, or the Chaco Culture National Historical Park, Aztec Ruins, Petroglyph National Monument, Montezuma Castle, so many things. We have the tallest trees and the tallest tree in the world, the Sailing Stones of Death Valley. In Hawaii, you can literally see active lava spewing rocks, or the world's largest protected marine area at Papahanaumokuakea. Also, they have the Polynesian Culture Center, and one of our best kept secrets, White Sands National Park that looks like you're walking on the moon. Go to the underrated states like West Virginia,
so much
River
stuff.
Gorge,
Look
North
at that.
Dakota has the strange enchanted highway. The New England states have the best autumn trees. Oregon has the ghost forest. Wisconsin has so many weird whimsical attractions. My favorite one being the House on the Rock. Idaho, Montana, Eastern California, Nevada, and Alaska have some of the best preserved Western style ghost towns. Freaking Alaska, ice caves, fjords, tundras, probably some of the best nature in the entire country. American Samoa and Guam and the Marianas are a wonderful place to see Micronesian and Polynesian culture displays. The Virgin Islands are like the wedding honeymoon capital of our country. There's so much, and that's not even the beginning. This is one of the reasons why like only 56% of Americans own passports, because we kind of have a...
That's that. Like, I don't think a lot of Americans understand how mad that seems to someone like from the UK. Like, obviously, if you can't afford it, you don't go abroad, but if you can afford it, you're having a passport and you are going abroad, which is most Brits. You can't wait for summer holiday. You think, oh, July's coming. If we can afford it, we're going on a summer holiday. You go somewhere like Spain or somewhere in Europe. If you can go somewhere to the Canary Islands, you're like, oh, and that is like amazing. You guys don't need that. And like, Brits don't understand it like until they see a video like this. I didn't understand it. First time I said, what? 56% you only have passports. What do you do on your vacation? Like when you're on a holiday? Completely get it. When you don't need one. Like we're looking at coming over, like I've said, and I'm gutted we can't do more in the time. And I also think we're trying to fit too much into that small time. Like we're trying to ram so much in, and I think, oh, it's going to be tight with all we're trying to ram in. But then I think this isn't even scratching the surface. It's mad. It's absolutely mad.
A lot to see in our own backyard. And it's no wonder considering that our backyard is one of the most biodiverse in the world. Let's discuss more of that in...
Physical.
So what is code cap?
See in a second.
Now, to summarize, every conceivable landscape you can think of, we have. The USA is regarded as one of the most geographically diverse nations on Earth, and with that landscape spectrum, you can find an infinite amount of natural wonders. But first, let's look at the map.
So first, let's start with the lower 48. Generally speaking, there are 7 main physical regions. The coastal plains extending from the North Atlantic states to the Gulf of Mexico, split off by the Appalachian Mountains. From there, you have the Central Plains and the Great Lakes region east of the Mississippi River, Lake Superior being the largest lake and the largest freshwater lake by surface area in the world, third largest by volume. However, only about 45% of it belongs to the U.S., meaning the largest lake completely within the U.S. boundaries and largest lake by area in the world fully within a single country would actually be Lake Michigan. Altogether, these 5 lakes make up about 1/5 of the world's above surface freshwater. West of the Mississippi, you have the Great Plains, the flattest part of the country, and home to Tornado Alley, where the strongest and most tornadoes form than anywhere else on Earth. From there, you reach the Rocky Mountains, the U.S.'s longest chain and third longest in the world after the Andes and the Great Escarpment in South Africa. The Rockies are also the source of the longest river in the United States, not the famous Mississippi, which begins in Minnesota, but by 1 mile extra, the Missouri River actually beats them at 3,341 miles.
Even though Missouri River's beating it, which I didn't know about until today, Mississippi is so much more important, I'm pretty sure, isn't it? Like, the amount of trade routes are in there, what it's done for America in the past with all the trade and stuff like that. Even though Missouri's, like, I don't think that has any, like, if you talk about street cred, like, Missouri's down here, I'd guess. Mississippi's up here. Yeah, it's a bit bigger, but street credit's up there. I may be talking absolute rubbish here, but let me know.
Past the Rockies is the Great Basin, which holds the U.S.'s desert ecoregions, 8 cold deserts with alpine flora, and 3 dry, hot shrubland, rocky, sandy deserts. Fun fact, the Sonoran Desert, shared with Mexico, is the only place in the world where you can find the famous saguaro cacti. You've probably seen them in movies and TV shows. They grow here naturally. From there, the other side of the Great Basin is bordered by the coastal ranges, aka the Cascades and the Sierra Nevada. Keep in mind, this range also sits on the San Andreas Transform Fault Line, which is part of the larger Ring of Fire. That means this area is the most earthquake-prone region in the country. Lots of geothermal activity, such as the eruption of Mount St. Helens in the 80s. From there, the state of Alaska up north actually has the highest peak, Denali, as well as all of the top 10 highest peaks in the country as well. Otherwise, unlike the islands formed by the Ring of Fire, the Hawaiian Islands were not formed by a fault line or rift system, but rather by their own unusual, isolated hotspot where magma spurted out on its own through plumes in the middle of the ocean. This is also known as the Emperor Hawaiian Seamount Chain, and technically, if you consider height from the base of the mountain to the peak, Mauna Kea on Hawaii's Big Island could be seen as the tallest mountain in the world, as over 25,000 feet or 75% of its total elevation goes underwater.
It's like an iceberg.
Yeah, what the Midwest lacks in landscape, they make up for in skyscape. We have the craziest atmospheric conditions in the Great Plains. People from all over the world come to our country just to see tornadoes. It's a thing, tornado tourism.
It's mad.
Oh, and fun fact, many homes, schools, and businesses in the Midwest and Great Plains have tornado shelters and cellars. And in schools, the kids also practice tornado drills. I had to do that as a kid.
That must be, like, he had to do that as a kid. That must be so surreal. We unfortunately, because of copyright issues, we can't do weather reactions anymore. But the people who've seen our tornado ones, we've expressed how scary it must be. We'll hopefully, touch wood, even when we come to the US, we'll never have to experience that, because it must be petrifying. Like, it must just be absolutely awful when you hear that siren. I can't imagine as a kid, that must feel awful. Not awful, but having to do that must be so scary just in case. You have to do it, so you're prepared. But that is mad. And the cellars are so important because you've got to make sure you get down and get safe. But it must be so scary. So scary.
Kid. And in that regard, some students in the West Coast have to do like earthquake drills. We know how to handle natural disasters here. We're pretty good at it. In the USA, life is like a constant economic game of opportunistic chess moves mixed with skill and luck. We know our potential and we want more. That's why we never stop moving. We hate mediocre, mundane complacency. You could win it all or you could mess up and lose it all. But the point is, You could. We go crazy over that.
You gotta go for it.
Not every country in the world offers a could to their people. We aren't really afraid of failure or embarrassment. That stuff passes away easily. Hell, we even capitalize and make money off of our embarrassment. Have you seen our reality shows? But the one thing we are terrified of is regret. And that's the core of the American spirit.
Which is
An
awesome.
American doesn't wonder. We dream. Whether it's plausible or deluded and foolish, we dream. Anyway, that was kind of a ramble. Not going to get too far.
I like that
message.
message.
It's time for
I
my
like
triple
it.
shot espresso break. Let's bring Noah in to fill in for the rest of the segment, shall we?
The fire may be gone, but the heat still lingers. Straight from the Great Plains, cyclone country, the state of Iowa. It is I, Noah. So let's get into some statistics first, shall we? It is already well known that today the USA has the largest economy by nominal GDP out of any nation and the second largest purchasing power parity after China. The dollar is the most widely used currency in international transactions and is the world's reserve currency. Used by many other countries as an official and de facto currency, we are the world's largest importer and second largest exporter after China. Out of the world's 500 largest companies, over 120 are headquartered in the USA.
Oh, wow.
We alone have about 40% of the world's billionaires and 30% of the world's millionaires. The NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange are the largest stock exchanges in the world by market capitalization and trade volume. Some of our most profitable exports include petroleum products, electronics, machinery, aerospace and defense equipment, and civilian passenger vehicles and medical and scientific equipment. We have the top most profitable companies.
I mean, that makes sense, but I wouldn't expect petroleum to be on there. Electronics makes sense, like Microsoft and stuff like that. Machinery kind of comes in with the military stuff as well. Aerospace, you got NASA. It makes sense. Defense equipment makes sense. Vehicles make sense. I'd have thought maybe other countries might be up there on vehicles, so. But all them just pretty much show like, the US is a big dog, if not the biggest dog.
And civilian passenger vehicles and medical and scientific equipment. We have the top most profitable companies and the largest commercial brands on earth that are world-renowned, such as Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Tesla. We even invented the concept of venture capital. It's not enough for us Americans to just profit. We have to potentially profit. Our franchises have become widely globalized. In some of the most remote places on earth,
McDonald's is everywhere.
A McDonald's or KFC. And even the countries that either hate or restrict opening up an American franchise will often rip them off and capitalize off the idea. Whether or not an international lawsuit ensues or not is another question. The point is they know the idea works. In addition to entrepreneurship, innovation, creativity, and invention has been a deep-rooted part of our history. We were even the first country to have an electronic grid provided to citizens as a utility in 1882.
Oh, wow.
The Wright brothers invented the first sustained controlled airplane in 1903, which pioneered and revolutionized the air travel industry. We love getting the world involved in our commerce. This is in large part thanks to our free market and capitalistic economic model in which market is run by the consumers. And basically thanks to our loose marketing laws, almost anything within the realm of public decency can be advertised. We go so far as advertise things like medicines, colleges,
which is mental to me, like, I'm not used to it.
Billboards and cheesy commercials are an American staple.
Did you get hit by a car? Did you get mesothelioma? Or did you get shot by a bear with mesothelioma? Well, call right now because you might be entitled to financial compensation.
You gotta love those commercials. In any case, some people like to vacation in our nature zones, like our favorite animal correspondent. You know what? This time I believe it's just Caleb. Take it away.
Hey guys, so you know I've been Geary Harlow on this channel for a while. But as we reach the home country, it's time to be real. And this is the real me.
It actually is.
You couldn't tell before because I was wearing a hat and a disguise.
That did the job.
Also hailing from the great state of Iowa. It is I, the American Caleb Seaton. So, the USA is classified as one of the top 10 mega diverse nations on Earth.
Yeah,
over
makes
600
sense.
species of reptiles and amphibians, more than 800 species of birds, over 430 species of mammals. The largest mammal within our country
Look
being
at that.
the North American bison. Today, we have 63 national parks, 13 of which are UNESCO World
And they're
Heritage
incredible.
Sites, including the world's first national park and probably our most famous one, Yellowstone.
Yeah.
The swampy parts of the Deep South is the reptile haven. You have alligators and turtles lurking everywhere. There are even crossing signs with gators on them. In the Rockies, we have black and brown bears, bobcats, and mountain lions.
Remember that time we saw a bear and what was it?
Oh my gosh, let me tell you this story. So Paul and I went on a camping trip.
That is such a US thing. Remember that time we saw that bear Oh, yeah. But you don't get that in the UK. You just don't get them stories. What?
Near Mammoth, California. One of the stupidest things we've ever done, because we were like just warming up around the fire, and I look behind Paul. It's a freaking bear like 15 feet away from me.
We found a bear.
Are you kidding me? That's a
That's mad.
freaking bear.
We almost died.
In the Alaskan North, you can find grizzlies and polar bears, as well as narwhals and walruses. In the deserts, we have coyotes, javelinas, desert tortoises, and tarantulas. All along the west coast, you have harbor and elephant seals, giant Humboldt squids, porpoises, dolphins, and whales. Our tropical islands are home to some of the most amazing endemic bird and fish species, such as the Hawaiian honey creeper and the nene, and the state fish, the humu humu nuku nuku.
I got video warning, so a picture of the nene in there. Oh my days.
Did I do that
By the
right?
way, look at that fish. Wow. What a beast.
Got it. Oh my god.
And that, of course, brings us to our national animal, the bald eagle.
Yeah.
Majestic, powerful, and swift. This eagle is found usually by large bodies of water as they prefer fish. They build the largest nests out of any bird on Earth. And yes, it is true, all American citizens, whether born or naturalized, are able to summon one at their will in times of emergency. I should salute it. And speaking of
definitely.
emergencies, I have to get back to my wife Jillian because I just had a second baby. Say hi to Eden Ray.
Oh, shout out
She
to
enjoys
Eden.
making bubbles out of her mouth. Cheers, guys.
Thank you, Caleb. Actually, fun fact, the whole reason I got involved with Geography Now originally was because I met Barb's at Caleb's wedding.
And
Oh, wow.
It's been great since then. Woo!
How about that? Enough on that. Let's discuss the food. First, let's start off with the American classic breakfast. You've seen it. Pancakes, bacon, sausage, eggs, and don't forget those hash browns. However, most Americans will eat another iconic American invention, cereal. That's
Okay,
right.
yeah.
We invented the
Sugary
fastest breakfast
cereal.
on Earth. You just add milk and done. Otherwise, we have some very iconic regional cuisines. For one, let's bring it to the Native American side. Such dishes that are shared amongst numerous tribes in the lower 48 include things like fry bread, bison jerky, Three Sisters stew, wojapi, pemmican, wild rice. Whereas for the Inuits up north, you might find whale blubber / meat, caribou / reindeer meat and sausage, cloudberry or salmonberry jams, smoked Alaskan salmon, king crab legs, and a gudok. There's
Okay.
it. Whereas on the islands like Hawaii and Samoa, you'll find many dishes baked in their own versions of the earth oven. Poi, or mashed purple taro paste, and kukui nut meat is the staple in many dishes. They specialize in numerous garnished seafood dishes like ahi-ahi and Pacific lobster. And the immigrants, like the Filipinos, Portuguese, and Japanese, even have incorporated their own fusion to modern-day Hawaiian cuisine. Things like loco-moco, musubi, and poke bowls. Then we
I've
get to
not
soul
heard of
food,
these
which
foods
you've probably
before.
heard of. Fried chicken and waffles, fried okra, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, ham hocks, and speaking of
These
the
are
South,
ones I've
our
heard of.
best kept secret, Cajun food. Imagine, if you will, if French cuisine was forced to use ingredients from the swamp and it actually worked. Almost every American grocery store has some kind of Cajun or Creole seasoning.
My favorite, Chef Gone Mad.
Things like gumbo, jambalaya, crawfish boil, pralines, boudin, beignets.
I mean, we've seen a few of them, like gumbo, crawfish boil. We will, when we go to Jamaica, we're going to give them a go. I am not a seafood fan, but I will give them a go. One I respect, because it's your culture and it's native. It's like proper American foods. I can't guarantee I'll like them, but I'll give them a go. Hopefully I will. Hopefully it will just change my taste buds and I'll love them. Millie will definitely like them though.
Alligator and andouille sausage. New England has their own cuisine as well. Things like lobster rolls, lobster bisque, clam chowder, and you can't forget Maryland blue crab and crab cakes. We also have Tex-Mex cuisine, which typically has heavier ingredients and uses more flour tortillas instead of corn.
Okay,
Enchiladas,
and spices
fajitas,
maybe?
quesadillas. And also, we have so many different regional barbecue styles.
Oh,
and
I can't
Barb's
wait for
favorite,
barbecue.
Kansas City style ribs.
Love it, so good.
So many places have their own style of pizzas and hot dogs. The biggest competitors are Chicago deep dish and New York thin crust. Americans are also known for their sweet pies,
Pecan
most
pie.
notably apple pie, banana
Ooh.
cream, lemon meringue, key lime pie, pecan pie. And speaking of pies,
Yeah,
one of our
pecan pie is the only pie I've had out of them, and it's gorgeous. So if it others are anywhere near there, I'd give it a go.
favorites is pumpkin served on Thanksgiving. And finally, our most iconic national dish, the burger, which has so many regional specialties, America would be nothing without the burger. Well, that's it for me, and until we meet again, stay tuned and stay ready.
Oh, he
Thank
caught
you,
it. He
Noah.
did
Quick
catch it.
side note in regards to the food stuff. Yes, we have a tipping culture at
Yep.
sit-down restaurants, not fast food chains. Typically, rates are 15 to 20%, and it's not that hard to calculate. You just take the price that you owe, move the decimal place one spot, and then divide that by 2, and then add that half to the moved decimal number that you originally priced yourself that you owe. Simple. And yes, we eat while walking. Like I said, we value our time. We want things now. And see, that's America. Every ethnic group has a story on how they got here, and everyone has their own thing. Yet at the end of the day, we're all on the same journey of figuring out how we ended up sitting in our cars, eating Taco Bell in a Walmart parking lot, contemplating life choices at 3 a.m. We've all been there. Anyway, that's a charming way to introduce my people.
I've never been to a Walmart, but maybe when we're in America, I'll be there. I hope I don't, because we'll be on a trip of our lifetime. I don't want to be there, but you never know. You never know.
To the world. Let's jump into the demographics.
I think all Americans, they all want the same thing, live a good life. They just want different versions of that.
It's a constant wild chase and the hunt for the next big thing. We may all come from different backgrounds, but we've got each other's backs.
Okay.
That, and we can all go to McDonald's at 5 a.m.
Opinionated and maybe a little crazy, but in a good way.
Bald eagles flying through the air, although those majority live in Canada now.
El boricua es orgullo, es pasión. Saber que de un 100 por 35 salen cosas muy grandes.
Americans are the only people on earth who will wear sunglasses after the sun is set.
Watch it. You gotta watch Top.
I mean, you guys say Millie's American. She wears sunglasses after the sun has set. Maybe she's American.
Mavericks. It's all about the Mavericks, bro.
We love adventure. We love unpredictability as Americans.
Because the craziest stories come out of the United States of America.
Definitely.
Whether it be a woman who got bit in the hand by a bear for punching it.
The generations of families that like the same team.
Mana'awa o ke kanaka vai he kanaka oiwi a kupa o kia aina me ke ano lavena lua ole ma kia honua a puni. Piha me ke aloha ka
knowing that you are a mixture of a plethora of stories, histories, and cultures.
Flirting with someone who thinks an alligator is adorable and makes questionable decisions during a hurricane.
There's the ideal, and then there's the reality. Here in Washington, D.C., we don't even have full representation of Congress. We don't even have senators.
Not all of us talk in a country accent. The irony and how did we all get here? I ponder that a lot.
Nous travailleurs, joueurs, et tellement les bons manger. À étudier les bons temps roulés.
Being able to just go drive in any direction.
One of the most American things is going on a road trip.
And driving for hours
without a second. That is so American. Like, what is it the saying? Is it, what is it? In the US, 100 years is a long time, but in the UK, 100 miles is a long drive, which it is. Like, that is such a long drive to us. Like, it just is. But you guys, 100 miles, nothing. You know what? We'll do 1,000 miles over a couple of days. Why not? Let's just do it. That to the UK is just mad.
What it means to be an Alaskan is to live wild and explore.
Just being able to sleep when it's light, 24 out, be awake when it's dark out. Gotta love that midnight sun.
I believe an American is someone who embraces diversity and use it to pursue life, liberty, and happiness.
So for me, an American is someone who values and respects American ideals and freedoms.
But the land of the free, the home of the brave, honestly. But America is nothing without New York. It's all happening here.
Absurdly stubborn in your beliefs. At the end of the day, you're still gonna all be friends. You're gonna go out and get drinks with each other.
We are the masters of making fun of each other.
Being hungry, after midnight, IHOP and Denny's are always there for you.
For me, IHOP and Denny's is on our list. Waffle House, though, is proving quite difficult to try and get to in the places we want to go to. But IHOPs and Denny's 100% will be recorded when we go to America. I can't wait for that.
It's the House of Waffles.
It isn't just a Waffle House, it's a Waffle Home. The bad rep we get for calling football soccer.
This is America!
An American to me is someone who likes to have a good time and someone that likes free refills.
It's someone that likes very large portions at restaurants.
You can use your EBT card at fast food places and wear sweats pretty much anywhere you are.
Awesome. An American, you can be anything.
And can turn
that's the message right there
into a competition.
There's no monolithic viewpoint or perspective on what makes an American American. Really, you get the whole melting pot. That's what America is.
So what is...
On that wholesome message, we're pretty much halfway through the video. I will end the first part there. I think I said at the start it's coming out in an hour and a half. I don't know if that will definitely happen. I can hear Archie crying a little bit. Millie might need a little bit of help. If not, it will be tomorrow. if there isn't a part 2, which is the only video for today, so please smash that like button. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you've made it half an hour, maybe even 40 minutes into the video, because I have waffled a little bit, because I have had a bit of a drink, I do talk a bit more, smash that like button. We would really appreciate it. Honestly, it does help us out. Smash that subscribe button if you're new around here. We'd seriously appreciate that as well. And comment below saying you want part 2 ASAP. It may not be tonight, I can't guarantee it. If it is, great. If not, it'll be the first video tomorrow. Have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll see you legends in the next one. Peace.